our lifestyles remain unchanged.
Hi Siyona, lovely to be here and very very good afternoon to all of you. To answer your question in one line, if we continue the way we are,
Yeah.
and in future very soon, instead of this ground, I think we'll have a huge pile of garbage, like a mountain
Definitely.
here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's my one line answer. And I have seen this happening in different places. And I was just sharing with the panelists earlier that there's this beautiful village I was driving to and appreciating, the trees and the breeze and everything. And as we were just stepping into the village, like 5 minutes before we entered the village, I saw two huge piles, two huge hillocks of garbage, as you enter. So that was the entry to the village. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And the work that you're doing in trying to reduce usage, trying to recycle, right, trying to find the right way to live. We use this big word called sustainable, and I think we should all get a little curious and understand what does this really mean.
Yeah.
What is sustainability for me? What is sustainability for the planet? And I think going back to this curiosity piece, I would say, flipping your question as to if we don't do anything, what will happen? I'm going to flip it and say, what can we do to make sure there isn't a huge mountain of garbage here? I would say let's all get curious in whatever it is that we are doing. Let's try and find out why something is happening. If somebody says this is not good, right? Find out why is it not good. Because unless I know for myself why it is not good, chances that I'm going to do anything about it is very, very remote.
Yeah.
So get curious is something that's big. Get a hobby. I mean, it might sound like completely disconnected to the plastic that we're talking about here today. But really, when we have a hobby, each one of us, we are invested in ourselves. We are happy doing what we are doing. We are not looking out there to find something else that can make us happy, right? And I would say, get a hobby that takes you outdoors. Right? There is so much of beauty, in the outdoors. We construct these concrete blocks we call home, right? For various reasons. Everybody needs a home. I have a home too. But this is something man-made. This is something we have created. Can we also step out of this and find life outside? What does it mean to be outdoors? How does nature really work? Can we learn from what has been going on around the planet before we created all the things that you're talking about that are not good to mankind?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I would say. Find out whenever we are buying something, and this is for everybody. I do this with myself, so I'm sharing this with you. Ask a simple question. Is this something I want, or is this something I need?
Yes.
And you decide. But definitely ask this question. Please go ahead and do what you're doing. Buy what you're buying. But don't, before you buy it, just ask, that one question. And lastly, Siyona, and for everybody here, the one thing that I would suggest is when you pick something to use it, to buy it, ask yourself, again it loops back to my curiosity piece, ask yourself, where did this come from? What went into making this what it is?
Yeah.
And where is this going to go once it's done with? Right? So just find, we are still here, we are still talking. It's not like the world has changed, it's not going to change overnight. But in this transition period, right, these are the questions to ask.
Yeah.
And what is wonderful about, I think, all of us being here is I remember, and I'm sure, my co-panelists will agree with me, every time we think of a panel, in the past I'm talking about conferences, medical conferences, all kinds of conferences, we want very good panelists.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we want a moderator who is a lot more experienced, who can discuss with these panelists and ask the right questions and be able to engage with the participants with their experience, right? So the moderator is somebody who is much older, much more experienced. And today we are already hearing the future. Yeah? the voice is already here, and I think that is a refreshing, welcoming change that we are being moderated by somebody as young or as old as Siyona. Thank you very much for doing this, all of you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. So, before we end this